of 20 things that we have learned in 2020. As you know, my name is Charmaine Wilson. I am the founder of MOH, My Own Husband. It's a movement, it's a global movement, it's a community of wives, and our message is simple. We just want to help wives become better wives for a better life, basically. So wives everywhere, wives around the world. It doesn't matter, who you are. It doesn't matter your religious background. We welcome you. We love you. We want you to be a part of who we are and why we are. That is the most important part of this movement. I have mentioned this last week, touching in details why we are. So please go back and check the replay of part one, and then we'll just, you'll get more context to that. I am honored, very much honored to have my husband with me tonight, Darren Wilson, my sweet, loving, kind, gentle, patient, um,
Some,
humble.
sometimes.
Ah, great leader he is, full of wisdom and truth. Every time I think of him, I think about that, like literally, wisdom and truth. I get that on a daily, and I am the blessed one, like extremely blessed. And I say that without apology and shame, to actually admit that I think that the Lord loves me so much that He chose literally the best for me. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here forever. And yes, I love you and I thank you for being on with me tonight as we do what we do best, be very open, transparent. Tonight, we're going to keep it hot again, which stands for honesty, openness, and transparency. All the time, every day, all day. That is who we are. That's how we are going to be. Because it makes no sense to be fake. It makes no sense to portray an image and display yourself in a manner that is not real. It's not going to benefit us and it's definitely not going to benefit you. And everything MOH does has impact and love at the foundation of it, right? This movement was released out there because of my love for people, but more specifically for wives, and because I didn't really have community like this. And I think that's where it started. But I think it runs deeper than that. It's wrapped up in purpose. And I think that God strips you of support and, the perfect way of how things are supposed to go so that He can begin stirring things in you to help you feel very uncomfortable in zones so that you can come out of your comfort zone and do what you're supposed to do, because I was not planning to do this. I would just talk to wives privately. I've been doing that. I've been married for what, 7 years, almost 7 years. And literally, I've been doing this for like almost 6 years. Literally, my husband can testify of this. And sometimes I would cry and say, God, why are you sending these people to me? Why are these wives reaching out to me? I literally did not want it. I've had prophetic words released over me where, literally the prophets have been asking and telling me, don't worry, it's not a sign on your forehead, literally, because that's what I felt. I felt like there was a sign on my forehead saying, come to me, I want to get all your problems and help you and pray with you and stuff. When really and truly, I just wanted to live my life with my man. Like, I'm like, I wasn't really that, like, didn't have much to offer. That's the way I felt. But every time women would speak to me, I would find like a passion within me. And every time they would give their feedback, I could see joy again. I could see fulfillment again. I can see that they feel new. I can see that they feel like there's hope again. And I knew that that had to be the work of God and not necessarily me, because half of the things that I said, or probably all of the things that I said, I didn't even know what I was talking about. But with experience in marriage, it really helped me to understand why that was happening and why we are here today. So all of this is for those of you who are familiar with prophetic words, prophetic and since September 2019 has been a manifestation of wives for trusting us, their husbands for trusting their wives, for always being there. For those of you who are new to MOH, please follow us on Facebook. We are Instagram. We
Okay. Yeah, as you were saying, we're MOH is on Facebook. It's on Instagram. It is on one second. It is on all your social media platforms. It's on YouTube. So go right ahead and start to follow the movement. Don't delay. Don't wait. Don't tarry. It's there. It's a movement for wives. Go ahead and follow, join, be a part of, engage, support, do whatever you have to do as a wife because community is important. Community is
right.
necessary. It's important.
So yeah. So now that we said that part, I hope I didn't miss anything. But I just want us to get right into it. Tonight we're covering part two because last week we did part one of 20 things that we've learned. Babe, you want us to just like,
Yeah, we can do a recap. We're not going to go into
yeah,
anything
we're
much.
not going to go
The
in
video is
details.
up, but we're just going to go through the points. And if you miss the points, you can always go back to the replay. Part one is on YouTube right now, and you can watch it. We're just going to briefly go through the points, and then we're going to start tonight off with the final 10 things that we learned in 2020. So we started with 10 last week. We're going to do 10 tonight, and then that's going to cap off our 2020. So what are we beginning with? Number one, obviously, right?
Duh.
All right. So point number one was this: sometimes you need more than just a listening ear, because after all that talking, you're going to need wise counsel and a solution to the problem. So that means you have to choose who you speak to wisely. Okay, that was point number one. Um, Point
I'm
number
trying to get mine.
two.
Go ahead.
Oh, you got your okay. Well, when you get it, let me know. I'll just stop. Number two, you always gotta be prepared. No, got to be prepared. Yeah, we always in this discussion. But anyway, point number two, we have what God is doing in your marriage may not be clear to everybody, but you have to be okay with that. It's your business. It's not anybody else's business. So whatever God is doing, just leave it at that. It's what is best for your marriage. It's nobody else's business. If you want to involve other people, that's fine. But if they don't understand, don't hold it against them. It's none of their business.
Right. Number
Um, num-
three.
Number three, go ahead.
Yes, a healed marriage keeps no record of wrong. So we touch heavily on that one. It doesn't necessarily that you are naive to what happened. You still remember what happened, but you're not remembering to the point where it's going to be used against your husband or against your wife in the future, right? So we've been through stuff. We've cried about it. You've hurt me. I have forgiven you. I still remember something about it, but not enough to allow it to damage our future together. Number four, graceful and forgiving people do well in marriage. So that was a very good one last week as well. I love that. You can tell a lot about people who are talking or engaged to be married, how well they're going to do in marriage. You check the way they handle their friendships. I'm not saying that everything is going to be perfect. There are things that I've done, I have said, or in my process in friendship that I was not always pleased about. But if at the root of your spirit, your heart, that there's still a spirit of reconciliation, a passion to still love people and try to work things out, then you'll do pretty good in marriage because marriage is going to take a lot of forgiveness, right?
Indeed.
Five, there are people that you and your husband are called to together, but when that season is up, you will know because this is what's going to happen. It's either they're going to love one and reject the other, meaning you're friends with people, everything is going good, you guys are good, but all of a sudden, you know what, I love you, Charmaine, but Darren, or you start saying things that are not true about your spouse, and you realize that they're attracted to you, they like you as a friend, they want you to come over, but not your husband. I'm not talking about like a sexual relationship. I'm just talking about friends, like circles, groups. But you can tell that there's a tension between them and your spouse. Those are people that you really want to go easy with, and it's better to have a conversation to find out, hey, I notice you're good with me, but with my husband you're kind of funny, you're kind of weird, and I don't appreciate that, so let's talk about it. And if it makes no sense, then you need to move on.
Right. Number six, we have give your and this was a big one for me. Give your husband space sometimes. You don't want him to have to be snapping at you. You have to know and recognize and realize when he needs that space. All right. What you do and allow during that free time says a lot. If you give your husband, if you are unable to give your husband space, and vice versa, wives as well, if you're unable to give each other space and you're not recognizing when that space is needed, then it says a lot about you. It says a lot about what you have going on in your own life, and that could be symbols or signs and symptoms of other things, underlying issues such as insecurity, and things of that nature. So learn to give each other space. Learn to give each other space.
Yeah. If you're just coming out, we're just wrapping up or recapping from last week, and then we're going to get right into tonight's 10 more things that we learned, and we're going to continue where we left off last week, right?
Right, right. And
So,
don't forget, share the broadcast, tag
yes,
people, let them know that this part two is on. The link is on YouTube. Share the link on YouTube. It's if you're in the Facebook group, start tagging your friends, your people that you know are on. Let them know we're here. We're doing part two. All right. So what number? This
and
was
I'm
what?
I'm
Seven.
seeing a lot of loves in the comments. Thank you. I'm seeing you sending your hearts. Thank you, ladies. Just say hi. Let us know where you're watching from. But thank you for sending all those beautiful hearts. I love you, love you, love you. Go ahead, babe.
Yeah. Number seven, every couple has to face some sacrifice in marriage. You are not alone, you are in covenant. Sacrifice is not it's not unique to you. Everybody has to go through it. Okay? And then we have point number eight. When you laugh so loud with your husband and tears come to your eyes, don't wipe them away. You are being refreshed. You are being
Yes,
refreshed. You're being refreshed. You're being refreshed. You're being
nice.
refreshed.
Laughing at your husband's silly jokes will keep him talking. Be all up in that conversation. Be the first one to laugh and the last one to finish. Woo! Oh boy, I don't know. I just had to laugh over that because sometimes the jokes is really not that funny. It's really not that funny, but because he's my husband, I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna be the one to laugh because
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you for telling me that. So I know that I'm not really funny, right? Okay, cool.
No, that's not true. You're funny, but yeah, sometimes I'm like,
Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. Number
ah,
10, choose quality over quantity every time.
yes,
Quality over quantity every single time. Don't make no mistake about it. Quality is always the best. Don't make the
yes.
mistake about it. You always have to do quality.
So, are you
Tonight.
ready for tonight? Woo!
All right. So, what are we going to discuss? What is point number 11? Because we stopped at point 10. What is point number 11?
So first, I need to see if the ladies are ready to get these 10 more things that we've learned in 2020. I want to see some comments. I want to see some more hearts. I want to just hear from you. I'm seeing Heather is on, Robertine is on, Denisha Carty is on, a whole lot of you. Let me hear from you in the comment. Let me see your comments. Just let me know you're ready. Like just put 11 in the comments, and then I know that okay, you're ready for number 11, and we're good to go. We also have people watching on YouTube as well. So I want to say hi, YouTube, and share this on Facebook, share the video on Facebook so we can get this message out, right? It makes no sense to go through a whole year and then come out with no wisdom. We got to learn, we got to grow, We definitely have to evolve. So thank you, ladies, and let's go. 11. Um, if it's not in the budget, then chances are you don't really need it.
Come
Now,
on.
who's gonna address this? Because I know you are
Come
bubbling to address this one.
on. Come on. You want to start? You want to start, or you really want me to take this?
You, well, I know you want to expose me, so go ahead.
If
Just do that.
it
Don't
is
stop
not
until you do it. So,
in the budget, then you don't need it. Listen, this is one of the things that we learned in 2020 because of the pandemic when everything has shut down and things started to slow down. We really had to. I mean, we were already doing a budget, but 2020 really taught us. Listen, this thing needs to be serious. And one of the realizations that we came to is that if it's not in the budget, then that means we don't really need it. And would you believe that we actually survived without the thing that we thought we needed that had to be in the budget? Right? We survived, right? Didn't we? Didn't we? We
go
survived, right?
ahead. Go ahead.
Listen, because okay, all jokes aside though, budgeting is one of the most important parts of your relationship, of your marriage relationship, because it is a sign that you can be trusted. That's what budgeting.
Yes.
Budgeting is a sign that you can be trusted with in general. The object is money, but it shows that you can be trusted in general. If you can develop a budget, that is one thing. But developing a budget and then sticking to that budget is a whole other ball game. Because I know a lot of people who can budget well. They do budgets perfectly.
Yeah.
All of their things are perfectly balanced out. But when it comes to the execution of that budget, it's poor. So coming back to this point, if it's not in the budget, don't try to make it fit. If it's not in the budget, don't try to make it as though it's something that is needed. Okay, you want to add anything else in there? You want to add anything else, Chacha?
Talk like from the wife's perspective. First of all, there's no judgment here. Okay, that's number one. Um, but I know whenever it comes to budgeting, shopping, overspending, and stuff, people automatically think that it's the wife who's the culprit. So I just want to say out there that is not me all the time. It's not me all the time. So it's not me all the time.
I didn't say anything. I was drinking some water. I didn't say a word.
Not me all the time. Sometimes I do very well. I'm very strong with our decision for the month or the future. And then there have some times when I just give in to stuff. I am trying to, how to say, like find the balance with life. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Sometimes you want to be strict on, let's say, for example, like now, I want to improve my kitchen, right? And let's say my husband was here for the Christmas holidays. For those of you who don't know, he's living in Stacia. He's working there since October.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so we've been kind of having like a long distance marriage for a short period of time. Um, and when he came and he surprised me for the Christmas, that was an opportunity for me to show and express my love and my appreciation and just honor him for being here and for taking the time to also come and doing whatever he, was necessary to make sure that he was here. So I think I needed to have a new dress. I thought that I needed to, not all the time you need to have something new, but
I came over and I didn't feel the need to do any of that stuff.
special. Huh?
And I was just saying I came over and I didn't feel the need to buy anything new.
Now I need some wives to give me some feedback in here because y'all just have me out here by myself. Like
What
it's
do you
just
need
me.
for all of
So
that?
it's okay. I'm gonna talk my business anyway, right? But I felt like, okay, my hair was already done. That was cool. I felt like maybe I could get my hair done again, but I was like, okay, that I can scratch it off the list. It's not a need, right? My nails were already okay. Everything was intact. but I wanted to go out a little more often because I know soon you're leaving. So that means we're going to spend a little more than what we budgeted for, because remember, you coming was a surprise. So we didn't really budget per se for all these different activities, right? But we had the money. So for me, it's like,
You should have been a lawyer. You should have been. I keep telling you this. You should have been. But anyway, go ahead.
so what are you saying that? Like, I'm just
Go
being
ahead.
honest.
I'm
We
just
said tonight it's gonna be hot. So
enjoying the way
HOT.
how you justifying. You weren't. It was a surprise, so you weren't supposed to be there. So it justifies
So
spending a little bit
it's
more out
your
of the budget.
fault. It's really your fault.
It's my fault. You see?
So, anyways, I think that that is where some of us, as wives, we kind of fall short. But it's not that we are bad spenders. It's just that it comes a time when, listen, I know that we agreed on saving this amount of money per month, but there are times when you have these spontaneous moments where we need to celebrate something, and we may not be able to do it in a large fashion, and that's okay. For me, it's not about, as we mentioned last week, it's not about quantity, it's all about quality. So even if that meant, I don't know, like getting a new dress so that we can go on the beach and have a nice picnic or whatever, something as simple as that. That is what makes me feel a little special for the occasion. And even if that means you getting a new outfit or whatever, that makes me feel special for you as well. So I think there must be balance with it, but at the same time, there is a strong need, especially in these times, to really even weigh your options. And seriously speaking, everything that I just said is the reality of life, the reality of marriage. But at the same time, you need to have someone in a marriage, and this is where my husband comes in. As beautiful as everything I said sounded, and as much as it's justified, he still has to be the one to be firm with the decision, to kind of like, okay, I see what you're saying, but the answer is still no. And this is why. And this is why, because there is not as much as you really think, and we have fallen back last month already because of whatever unexpected expense. So this month, definitely that has to be cut out. So put a new belt to that dress, change your earrings, whatever you got to do, change your hairstyle, look brand new, but you're going to have to go to that closet and use what you got, right?
Right.
Uh, so, and the more you hear that kind of language and it becomes a part of your culture, you're not going to be as spontaneous as or impulsive when it comes to spending. So, but before we say all of that, we should have said this though. This is easier for us because we have joint accounts.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point.
yeah, I'm not sure where everybody else in the room falls, but when there's joint accounts, then there's more control. In our opinion, I am not saying that this is law for marriage,
This is just something we prefer.
but
We have joint accounts. Actually, to be quite honest, we had joint accounts even before we were married. Before we were
yeah,
married, we opened a joint account. Because of again, as Charmaine was saying, it gives a greater element of control. It gives a greater element of trust, because you're able to now track where every dollar goes. So no one is able to spend outside of the other person knowing, because we've heard of situations where spouses would be like, listen, well, I don't have the money, where all the money went, but you don't know because they are two separate accounts. So when you think this bill is supposed to be paid and it's not paid, you're wondering where it is, and it's we didn't want that for us, so we decided, and this is our personal opinion, that joint accounts were the best route for us.
yes, and it's always been. So the only thing though with joint accounts is that sometimes I really want to do something special, and then he's all up in my business. He's like, where's this money gone to? And he's just all up in my business. So we've worked around things like that as well. And that is why for our anniversary, for example, we take the lead per year. Someone takes the lead per year, so that when we, and even that, we set a budget. We set a budget even for that. So I'm free to do whatever I want to do. I'm free to save up however I want to save up. But this is a budget when that time comes.
Everything.
So, and if I feel like this year I want to go like really big with the anniversary, then I know that in addition to whatever the budget is set out for the month for that occasion, then I need to start saving from the beginning of the year to add more to that. And that I am free to do, but the budget is set. So
Hmm.
that
And then
number.
that point actually leads into point 12,
Mm-hmm.
because this now is the other side of budgeting. And sometimes because we grew up in church, right? And we would hear this phrase all the time, God's gonna bless your finances. But sometimes God doesn't need to bless your money.
Mm.
God blesses those who practice effective financial stewardship. And this is the other side of budgeting, because it's one thing to budget, but then now when you budgeting is telling that money what to do. And that now is a form of stewardship. And you have to be able to be financially, fiscally responsible to guide the money to what it needs to do. And for financial stewardship purposes, there are three pillars that at least we practice in terms of being able to steward our finances accurately and effectively, which is giving, saving, and investing. Giving, saving, and investing. We give to others, we give to church, we give to organizations, whatever. Because that you can't get away from that. We grew up in church. That is something we was instilled in us from young. That we must always give. It's better to give than to receive. I can hear my grandmother saying that all the time. The second point is saving, and it's not just saving to save, but saving for several purposes. One, you save for expenses for rainy days. You save for emergencies, and two, which is the third point, which leads into the third point, you save to invest. A lot of times people just like to have money sitting on the bank, but money sitting on the bank doesn't do anything for you. Money sitting on the bank without investing it in something, whether it's for real estate or in a business or in some other investment that brings some sort of return for the future, because that's also the point of investment, future thinking. We have a son, we have a family, so we have to invest with him in mind. So those are the pillars of financial stewardship. And but that can't happen unless you budget. That can't happen unless you budget. So that's what we learned in. It was one of the things we learned in 2020. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I'll just piggyback off anything else you decide to say.
No, no. When we were going through marriage, you remember that, babe? And after Irma, um, we realized that eventually the money that we had saved, you got laid off, and the business we had to, kind of.
Crank it up. Yeah,
You can hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we kind of like had to start all over and reevaluate the strategies and stuff with our business. We had to figure out with the money that we have how to make it make sense. And that is how stewardship works.
Hmm.
And I have seen how, and I couldn't understand this for years. People that have money, you can go out with them, they can spend, they're always the one willing to pay for your meal, they're always the one ready to give, but they literally have nothing to show for it. And I'm not going to make this all about material things, but at the end of the day, life has to kind of like add up. So you're such a great giver, and that is great. I love that. We are called to give. But you never own anything in your life. You never built anything from scratch. You've never invested in any long-term investment. There is no fruit to show for it. All these years you've been working. And this is no shade on anyone, because this is something that we had to think about and process.
Hmm.
But 2020, a lot became more clearer, even with our own investments, and why we did it the way we did it, and why it was important, and where we are going, and why we need to make the changes that we have to make. But it was primarily founded on how well we steward what we have.
You're right.
So careless spending, especially like I see sometimes if someone blesses you and you receive it, say, oh, thank you. But if you take that money and just go and buy McDonald's, for me, that is not an effective stewardship of that money. You know, I didn't have $20 an hour ago, but you came and you said, God told me, or I just feel led to give you this $20. In honoring this seed in my hand and honoring God, I want to maybe take like a 10% out of it. It's up to you, wherever where your convictions are. But I want to be honorable of it enough that God, looking down on me, can say, you know what, I can trust her with more because she took that $20 and multiplied it. Either you went and bought groceries, and I'm not talking about chips, I'm talking about food that can remain for a long time, for a period of time, right? I am talking about investing in good food that can help build your body and build your husband's body, and that can keep you healthy enough so that you can do the work of the Lord or whatever it is that you're called to do. Good stewardship. And I can still have $5 left that if anybody's in need, I can say, hey, here's a dollar, go and buy some bread, right? Stewardship, right? Being a leader and a controller of your finances. So, yeah, 2020, I want to thank you for that because it really helped us to put a lot more in perspective where that is concerned. And what we thought we were doing good, we actually became better at it. So,
And it's not to say too that this is something that we've perfected, but it's something that we it's a lesson that we learned, and we are now progressing in it. So it's not, so we're not on here trying to tell you that these are lessons that we learned, so we have it all together and down pat. No, 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 no. These are lessons that 2020 taught us, and because they taught us, we are now putting these lessons into practice. It's becoming something that is a practicality for us. It is becoming something that we are walking out in terms of where we are going as far as the future is concerned. Okay, so
yeah,
that's point number 12, 13. I think I'm going to let you take this one. Point number
nice.
13. What is that?
Oh, I love my candles. Got to have my Bath and Body Works candles. Like anybody ever want to bless me with a gift, trust me, you will win my heart with candles. Love, love, love candles, right? So yeah, try scented candles. I know you're like, what does this have to do with 2020, right? Try scented candles, lights out, and smooth jazz playing for a change, right? So I am all cozy and stuff when I'm home. That's me. My husband is more like, why you gotta do this? Why you gotta have candles? Why? And
I
I'm
must say I do like smooth jazz. Smooth jazz is my jam. I've been liking smooth jazz since college, so I'm not opposed to the smooth jazz. All right. So let's just lay that disclaimer out there. I know you can continue.
Yeah, because it's music, so you're okay with it. But anyway, the scented candles, right? For me, and remember, this is our experience. I don't know what works for you, but that really kind of like sets the mood for me, right? And I'm not just talking about sex. It doesn't always have to be that. It could just be like we've had that when he was here for the holidays. I was, lay on the couch. I'll put the candle on, dim the lights after our son is in bed, and just on the TV, we put on our what do you call that,
Smooth
YouTube,
jazz,
and
on TV. It's
yeah,
just a different
it's
atmosphere.
just a
You're
different
setting a
environment,
vibe. You're setting an environment. Yeah, that's all. That's really what it is.
right? And then all the stress from the day, or even if you thought you were upset with each other, because of whatever he said in a day, whatever, it really helps to facilitate conversation. It really helps to, set the atmosphere, the mood for you to be open and transparent and just have a great time together, peaceful and quiet. And sometimes you really don't have to say much. You're
Sit
just
down with a glass of
being
wine.
enjoying each other's company, and it's just soothing. It's really helpful, and it's just soothing. So sometimes try something new, and
Yeah, that's the point.
building on the point building on the point that we made concerning budgeting, it's not going to cost you more than $25 to get a candle, right? Um, and with that being said, you don't have to have the whole big elaborate date night. That is also a perfect
A
date
date
night.
night.
So we've done that after dinner, we've done that during dinner,
Get yourself some hors
and
d'oeuvres,
it just made a lot of sense.
some
And
finger
after
food,
that, listen, you
some
just
oven.
huh?
No, I was just saying that I was just building out the point of the date night. Because I'm on my side, I'm getting a delay. So I don't know if I'm speaking over you. If I'm doing that, I apologize, but I just keep hearing a delay. So,
No,
but
it's
what I
like there's a delay times.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that it's a building off your point for a date night. It's a perfect date night, and it's very inexpensive. You know, you just put some hors d'oeuvres in the oven, some finger food snacks. You have a glass of wine. You sit on the couch, and you just enjoy. You know, light your candle. It's a dim environment. You put on your music, and you just sit and talk and have a good time. So the reason why this is so important is because 2020 brought a lot of stress with it. And let's not kid ourselves. 2020 brought with it a whole bag of stress. But this little action, this little environment that you create, this is what you have control over. You don't have control over COVID. You don't have control over what happens when you go outside your house. But you have control. You don't have control when you go to a restaurant. Where you don't have control over those things. But when you are inside, you can control that environment, and you can determine and decide, okay, how you're going to spend this time with your spouse, and that worked for us. I mean, it works. It works. It's a nice change of pace for a date night.
Yes, I love that. A nice change of pace. I love that. Yes. What's number 14?
14. Oh, you didn't want to say anything else about the
No,
candle?
I think they got the point, but it was good.
All right. 14. You can't expect more. This is a very good one. This is a good point. You can't expect more out of your marriage than you actually pray for it and than you put into it. This is a good point because these are two power points, right? A lot of times people have issues in their relationships and in their marriage, and what the first thing that they say, especially if they're religious, first thing they say is, yeah, well, pray for it, pray about your marriage, pray about it. And that's fine. I'm not negating the power of prayer. I believe in prayer. Prayer is awesome. But after you pray, there's some work you gotta put in. Faith
Yeah,
without work is dead. So don't just you can't expect, and it's just like investment. You can't expect a return on something you never invested in. And the same in your marriage. If you can't expect more out of your marriage than what you pray to get out of it and what you put into it.
right. And I have made up my mind and committed myself to pray more than what I actually talk about.
Now, say that
Because
one again. Wait, wait, no, no, no. Don't go over that too fast. Say that one again.
I've made this commitment to pray more than what I actually talk about. Yeah, so I
Explain
pray
that.
more about
Explain
what I
that.
actually talk about. And I have seen how, um, because I always tell people the reason why you're talking about something is either because it's either bothering you, you need some attention, or you need that issue to be addressed, or you're looking for solution. People don't just talk; they're looking for something. When you go to a therapist, as comforting and therapeutic as having someone listen to you is, at the end of the day, you still need a solution to that problem. And the solution is not going to come like direct. It's not going to always be, and it's not supposed to be that your therapist or your counselor is telling you exactly what to do, but they are helping guide you to that solution. And the same thing when it comes to any issue in your marriage, you are looking for a solution to that problem.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to God in prayer, we are not just going to complain about our husbands, period. There are times when I do complain about him, but we're not going just for that. You have to have a purpose, even for prayer, right? And when you have a purpose for prayer, then you engage strategically, not just to receive, but for wisdom, for you want to grow in this wisdom, not just get a handout and then that's it. You want to be able to navigate through this wisely so that any other situation that's either similar or higher than this one, you can actually grow and pass the test and navigate through it, because it's basically all your problems are going to be similar. Basically, you're going to either have to work on your communication, you're going to either have to forgive and extend grace, you're either going to have to try again, work on your patience. It just comes in different shapes and forms, but it's the same. It's the same in every marriage. So I am committing myself, and I'm asking you women, you wives, to do the same. To talk, not talk less, because I don't want to make it seem like you don't have to talk to anyone. But just as much as you talk, make sure that your prayer investment is higher than that all the time.
And then after you pray, look for ways to actually put in the work. Because I'm not going to just sit there and say, yeah, praying is the answer. It's a part of the answer. It's not the only answer. It's a part of the answer. Because after you pray, then there's some work that has to be done as a result of the answers to whatever it is that you pray. So don't just think that, okay, well, once you pray about it and leave it, then they're gonna be good. No, 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 no. And I'm not, and this is not saying either that when you pray that there's something that you have to do to your spouse. No. When you pray, there's work that you have to put in and of yourself to be able to facilitate whatever change it is that needs to happen. All right. So it's not only about praying, but it's about putting in the work as well. Faith without work, faith is prayer is faith, and put in the work. If you don't have that, the work, then whatever it is you prayed about is gonna go dead. Okay?
I love that. We have six more to go. Okay, five more.
Well,
uh,
five now.
uh,
I said 5 here. We're on 15
yeah.
now.
All right. You want to take this one, babe? First of
Um
all, do you feel like I honor you? Tell
yeah,
the people and shame
you
them.
do. I'm not yeah, you do. Do you feel like I honor you? That's why I gotta ask, because sometimes I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Ah, but this is also an offshoot of point number 14. You can't pray for who you don't honor and serve. Now, the reason this is also vital is because praying does something to you. And what prayer is a symbol of humility. Prayer is a symbol of submission. And if you can pray for someone, that means you are in a better position to honor them and to serve them, because honoring someone and serving someone has to do with humility. So if you don't, if you're not a humble person, then you can't pray for someone, because prayer actually lets you know that there is someone that is above you, which is in our case, because we're believers in the Lord Jesus Christ and His kingdom. It means that once we pray to the Father, we are admitting that we are submitted to Him. And once we can pray to Him, and He now, through our prayers, adjusts and rearranges our posture to be able to say, okay, you know something? Because I'm submitted to you, I can now submit to my spouse. And how do you display a submission? Through honor and through service. Because and I know you like to hit on the submission thing, but I think one of the practical parts of submission, that the way you can view submission is through honor and through service. That is what submission looks like: honor and service. But you can't do any of that if you don't pray for your spouse, if you don't pray
Right.
for them, right?
And I think for this point too, when we were discussing all these, that stood out to me was sometimes I would have like wives connect, where I have these free session calls with wives to just encourage them in 30 minutes and stuff. So please sign up for those. Um, and sometimes you would hear a wife say, you know what, I can't deal with him with this, but I pray for him. They would really talk really bad about the spouse, and they have their reasons. I'm not going to judge anybody here with that. I know that probably you went through a really hard season and you feel like there's nothing good to say. But what I don't get is how there's so much bitterness towards the situation and him. You can't communicate, y'all are not sexually active, you can't sleep in the same house, you can't even touch each other, you can't look at each other, but you feel like you are the right one in the situation and you can take him to the Lord in prayer. And I try my best to understand, like, how do you process that? Is that even reaching God? You can't honor him here, but you can communicate to God about him there. Like, I like, spiritually, how does that even make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That does actually make a lot of sense, because it's almost as though it's a schizophrenic type of behavior.
Like,
You speaking to
if
God about
if
your
if you're
spouse,
if
but
you're
you can't
taking
speak
a
to your spouse.
situation, sorry.
It's like you speaking to God about your spouse, but you can't speak to your spouse about your spouse.
Right. So, like, if you're taking a situation to the Lord in prayer, I have no issues with that. Like, God, I'm so tired of this. I really want to see change in my marriage. Please help us. Please help us. Whatever. That's great. But to go in prayer, God, you know what? Work on him, and he needs to change, and he needs to get his act together. And in the name of Jesus, God, speak to him. Give him no rest. Give him no peace. Where whatever he does will not prosper
You went
until
into the
he gets
archive
it
of the
right.
prayer, the
and,
prayer of the
and
saints.
let him not sleep until we talk about this. And how do you even do that? So we need to be able to understand, like, maybe let's just, like, hold back a little on trying to be our husband's pastors and being their spiritual guide, and really have conversation before you even talk about trying to, like, manipulate them spiritually, if you get what I mean.
Hmm.
So, like, take yourself to the Lord in prayer. Like, ask God to help you change. I think that is a more effective prayer, and then let him
And
do a work.
that's what the point of prayer is. Prayer is to change you. It's not to
Yeah,
change
let it
the
let it do a work in you.
yeah.
Let it transform you. And this is why I am so heavy on us as wives. And I know sometimes some wives are like, oh my God, we gotta work on this. Yeah, we got to. Because at the end of the day, you need to know that you are in right standing with God concerning your role and your responsibility as wife. What did I do and contributed to this issue also? It's not always the case. I get that, but we need to have that humility and that attitude. I need to go to God and say, God, listen, my marriage is not where I want it to be. Please show me where I need to do better. Please show me where I have fallen short. Please show me where I have not always been the type of wife that I needed to be, And even if he shows you something about your husband, because you have that spirit of humility for yourself and that grace towards yourself, you're going to extend that to him. So you're not going to be like, yeah, it's you and you and you.
Mhm.
So, yeah. You
Yeah.
can't pray for who you don't honor. Don't let anybody fool you, because even in your prayers, you're gonna hear that bitterness. You're gonna
Yep.
hear that anger. You're gonna hear the arrogance, the pride. You're gonna hear
Right.
that, and it's not going to reach heaven.
Yep. And then it that is an indication of where your heart is at towards your
Yeah.
spouse. And once your heart is in a terrible place, it's not gonna work. It won't.
Now,
It won't work. It won't work.
16.
When the
When the
tough Go
Go
ahead, read.
ahead.
Go ahead. 'Cause I've been reading the last five. So go ahead.
Okay, when the tough time comes, remember the reason why you committed to each other in the first place. Woo! The why of a thing. Listen, that I know a lot of you have been so in love, and maybe that has been keeping you. That has not been keeping us. Like, there are times when I feel like I really love him, and there are times when I feel like I really can't stand him, right? But really and truly, the why behind the marriage, that is where my strength comes from. Because the purpose of a thing really determines the longevity of it.
That's
You
a
know,
good point. Say that again.
the purpose of a thing determines the longevity of it.
Yes.
So if the purpose is short term, then don't be surprised when it's cut short. But
Yep.
when we said I do, the purpose of that was forever. So divorce can't dwell here because that was not a purpose of marriage. That was not a purpose of this marriage. That was not a purpose of your marriage. You
That's a
understand?
good point.
So when we say we are not talking divorce, we're not doing divorce, I know some of my feminist friends, they'll be like, yeah, but no, there's no buts. And he's not controlling me. I am free as free can be. But we have committed to the why of
Yeah.
this relationship.
And,
And
and
whatever
I
that
think another.
why is, um, there needs to be a time attached to it, a framework, right? And I'm not saying that everything in life must last forever, but marriage is one of those things. That is our story. It must last forever because we said yes to covenant.
I think one of the things that is important to mention here is that a lot of times people, in terms of understanding the why of a thing, we tend to focus on um, committing to each other. But I think we should change the focus from committing to each other to committing to the institution of marriage. Because really and truly, there's nothing wrong with the institution of marriage. Marriage itself, as the scripture says, marriage is honorable. It is an honorable institution. There's nothing wrong with the idea, the concept of marriage. What happens is that two people, male and female, who come into the relationship that are imperfect, bring imperfections into a perfect union. So when you try to commit to, when two imperfect people try to commit to each other, you're always going to have issues. You're always going to have disagreements that will cause you to want to renege on your commitment. But when you commit to the perfect institution of marriage, when you as a husband and you as a wife commit to marriage itself, then indirectly, because you commit directly to marriage, you are indirectly committing to each other as well, because both of y'all are focused on making marriage work, and then that is one of the things that we have put in the forefront of our minds. Yes, we love each other, yes, we commit to each other, but really and truly, our focus and our goal is one, commitment to the King, right? Our personal commitment, and then our commitment to the idea and the concept and the institution of marriage. Because it is in that idea, concept, and institution of marriage that we now begin to find ways to commit to each other. Because if you committed to the marriage and I'm committed to the marriage and we don't want to do anything to dishonor the marriage, the marital covenant, the marital commitment, the marital institution, then we'll do whatever is necessary to commit to each other within that context as well. So for us, whenever the tough times came, we knew that, listen, okay, we committed to the institution, so there has to be a way to work this out. And another thing too that's also important. This is why it's important for, if you're going to be married, for engaged people and for married couples, if you believe in the prophetic, it is important, it is of paramount importance that a prophetic word is released over your relationship, because that is also part and parcel of the key. That's one of the things that we learned heavily this year that actually kept our marriage. I'll tell you why. Before we were married, we were at the church we're currently at now. We were visiting at the time, and there was this apostle that came from another country. It was for a marriage conference, and while he was preaching, he began to prophesy, and he prophesied to us and said that our relationship, our marriage, and mind you, we weren't married yet, but our marriage is a prototype. That's what he said. And this is before we were married. He said, your marriage is a prototype. God is going to use your marriage as a prototype. We didn't know what that meant. We had no idea what God had planned for us. But what I do know is that when I look up the definition of prototype, the definition of prototype is the first or of something from which other things can be developed. The first of something, or the first idea, the first concept, the first version, the first proof of anything, from which everything else or other types of it can be developed. So as we progressed in our relationship, that is what we saw, that whatever it is that was happening in our marriage became the example for someone else to be able to develop from. And that is also part and parcel of the why of our relationship, to be an accurate example, to be an accurate representation, to be an accurate representation to our generation of what a genuine, authentic kingdom marriage relationship is supposed to look like, because of that prophetic word. So whenever we have our issues, because let me listen, we say we're being hot, right? A half an hour before we came on this live, 8 o'clock, we had a follow.
You had a follow.
We had a follow. Don't play with me.
I
We
was
had a
I was
follow
fine.
because
I was blessed.
a certain somebody wanted to get emotional, but she didn't admit that. So I gonna buzz the pot here
And
tonight. Okay.
what you said was the reason behind that.
Now,
Tell the people, give them the whole story, and let them see
the
where you're
whole
going from.
story. And now I didn't remember the story now. But what I do know is that half an hour before we came on at 8 o'clock, we had a fallout. But because we understand purpose, because we understand the prototypical nature of our relationship, we had to commit to the relationship, the marriage institution. And then I was like, you know something? You ready to try this thing again? That was the message I sent to her. So you ready to do this again? Because what we were doing, we were busy having a discussion, going through the points to see how we were going to sync up our points and whatnot. And
And then you were being
I had
stubborn
a
about something.
I had a point. She didn't like the way that I brought the point across in the deliberation stage, so she got upset. And I'm
I
like,
did
but
not get
that's the
upset.
point. That's the point of bringing it up in the deliberation stage, so that when I go on air, I don't bring it up the way I brought it up here. My
I did
girl,
not get
my
upset.
girl threw a whole temper tantrum. She threw a fit. So I was like, you know what? Okay. And then she hung up on me. Tell me I lie. Tell the people of God here tonight. Tell me if I'm lying. Tell
I
me if I'm
told
lying.
you
Tell me,
Darren was
yes or no question. Did you hang up on me? Yes or no?
yes, you because
Okay,
you
good.
were not listening.
Yes or that. No further questions. I rest my case. All right.
Listen,
But
you better tell the whole
because
story.
that is the whole story. We were deliberating our points.
You said
I
that
brought it up.
you said that you think that I am missing the D. That is why I'm behaving that way. And I was like, I ain't got time for this.
And I wasn't gonna say all of that, but since you want to bring that up, it could be that too. I don't know. But
I
anyway,
was like, I ain't doing this with you tonight. You're not gonna put this on the lack of that. So I just hung up on you. I was like, I'm gonna deal with you later.
okay. And then a couple minutes later, I was like, listen, we have a work to do. We have a job to do tonight. So let's sort this thing out so that we can be the prototypical and fulfill the prophetic word that was spoken of us. So that's why we here tonight. Because we're committed to our marriage, we have to make it work regardless of how we feel. Regardless of how
Right.
regardless of how we feel, we have to make it work. And even and I can hear some of y'all saying here, well, y'all so y'all only make up because you have to come on here tonight. No, because even if we didn't come on here tonight, because we committed to the institution, we would still have to work it out. Okay, good.
Right. And
So
then like I always tell wives, there's some issues that listen, we ain't even gonna talk about it. It's like, okay, it's not a big deal. Like get over it. It's not you misunderstood me, I misunderstood you, but the at the core of it, we are good. It's just well remember, it's like a friendship. You have a little fall up with your sister friend or whatever, and he's like, "Girl, I don't like your ways," and she's like, "I don't like yours either." But then it's like, "Okay, you ready for us to go eat?" That's what it is, right? That's how it's supposed to be. So, um, he got me upset. It's just a minor issue because he didn't say something that I thought he
I,
should have
I
said.
didn't say I
In
didn't say
our
the right way. I'm like, but we having a discussion, we talking. This is not what I'm gonna
so
say when we go on air. That's why I'm here. You gotta help me fix it.
But
My
he's
girl,
still my husband. I'm not gonna leave him for that. It's not my fault. I married him just so. He's a little stubborn, and I just have to learn to work around it. So anyway,
I gotta work
but
around it too. But
being
anyway,
committed to the why is gonna keep you
right,
stable. It's
right.
gonna keep you stable.
Commit to the
So
why, understand the purpose, and not just the purpose for the marriage, but the purpose of your individual marriage, because that's also something that's important. Wherever purpose is not known, that the late Dr. Miles Monroe, one of my heroes, used to say this: whenever purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Abuse is the abnormal use of something. Ab is outside, is a prefix that means outside of normal. So it's outside of the normal way of usage. So if you don't know the purpose for marriage, you'll abnormally use it, you'll abuse it. And because you
right,
don't know the purpose for your marriage, that's why there are a lot of people who are suffering in marital abuse. I'm not talking about domestic abuse in terms of hitting and things like that, but your marriage is suffering marital abuse because you are abusing the purpose of marriage, and not just marriage in general, but your marriage in particular. So once you understand the purpose for your marriage, like, we understand the purpose for our marriage. So that is why we as long as we are alive, we cannot abuse the purpose of our marriage because we know what the purpose of it is, to be a prototype. All right. So everything that we do is prototypical in nature. I'm not saying that there aren't other prototypes, but prototypical for the persons that are in our sphere of influence. Because God gives you persons for you to influence. God gives you persons for you to inspire and empower and help transform. So you are prototypical, you are the prototype for those that He has given to your care, those that He's giving you to influence. Not everybody. We're not the prototypes for everybody. We know that. I don't want to be everybody's prototype. I'm good. I am listen, I don't need to be everybody's answer, but I need to be the answer for everybody that God gives us.
amen. I love that.
We don't need to be everybody's answer, but we have to be the answer for everybody that God gives to us. And
Right.
by His grace, that's exactly what we're going to do by fulfilling and remembering why we are committed to each other in the first place. And
And
that's that.
when we say answer, we're talking in the context of purpose, huh?
Right,
Just to make that clear.
right, right. So
Um, 17.
this
You
don't
are
even need no really. This don't even need nothing really.
well, this is to the point. This is self-explanatory. Like you are a team. Period.
Period.
Like you can't have him without having me. You can't have me without having him. Like
Package deal, baby. Package
what
deal. You're
you're
a
not
team.
going to do is dishonor my husband and have me on your team. That's not working. Vice
And
versa.
and
And when you
Mhm.
understand that team approach for your marriage, you will better appreciate people that are also teams in their marriage. You
Yeah.
know, you gotta respect that. So when someone says to you, no, I can't come because my husband is not for it or we are not in agreement for it, then you can better appreciate that because you know what it's like to be in that position to, not engage or not be a part of something because both of you are not in it. You're not
Hmm. Hmm.
you're not
Hmm.
sought after together. So check that out and make sure that everything you do, say, your whereabouts is supportive of that teamwork. Team Wilson, team, who's in the comments? We have Team Valerie, we have Team Edward Peterson. We have all these amazing people. You know, always move like a team.
And that's
And
what we always hashtag Team Wilson, because it's to reinforce that idea not only to ourselves but to everybody else as well.
right,
Because sometimes people try to test you. People try to test you as an individual, and they try to test you as a unit. But once you put that out there, how people say put it in the universe. When you put it in Christianese, we say put it in the atmosphere. Once you put it out there, it reinforces that idea that listen, we are a team, and it's not to say. And I want to go back to something you mentioned. Is not only for persons who want to have you as an individual on your team, but not your spouse. But it's also a mindset for you as well in the relationship that I don't do or say or make any kind of decisions without consulting the team. I
Correct.
don't I don't do anything. I don't make a purchase. I don't we don't make any decisions about our family or our son without consulting the team, because that is the approach. And once that you can get that settled within the household, then it will be just an outflow when you go out in public, because then now you can only practice in public that which you practice in private.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try to act like a team out in public, but you really aren't a team in the house. So you can't. Whatever is done in the dark will come to light. It's a scriptural principle. What's done in the dark will come to the light. We usually use that for things that are bad, things that are shady, but it's also used for things that are good. Whatever is done in the dark, in within the confines of your house, if you move like a team within the home, you move like a team outside.
Yeah.
Like my wife could tell you, even though I'm off island, we still parent as a team. When my our son's getting out of order, she can't handle it no more. She'll jump on the phone, put on video call, and I have to rough him up from over here, because that's how we move as a team. And he recognizes that. He recognizes that.
Love, 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 love. I love this.
Let's
Three
see.
more points.
We're doing good on time, man. Doing better than last time.
I know you would have said that. You see, I want to make you proud tonight.
Doing better on time. Doing good on time. Number 18, faith in each other and love for each other often results in peace with each other. This is a good
Woo.
point. Faith in each other and love for each other often results in peace with each other. Why is this important? I'm going to just say this, and then Charmaine can take it on. Love works through faith,
Yes.
right? And when love works through faith, the result of that is peace. You can't say you love somebody and not have faith that they won't do what is necessary to uphold their side of the bargain. Something I learned from my wife even before we got married. She said, um, "You get married by faith. You get married by faith. You have no idea how this person is going to turn out. You have no idea if this person's foot going to stink. You have no idea if this person got halitosis. You have no idea if this person how they behave. You don't know. So you enter into this arrangement by faith, and as you progress in it and your love for this person grows, so too does your faith in their ability to maintain whatever it is they said at the altar. And once you have that faith, then it leads you to being at peace with each other. Because then now you have faith that they're not in competition with you. You have faith that they will always act in your best interest. You have faith that they won't do nothing to damage, or I was going to say disappoint, but people always disappoint you, even the persons that you're closest to. But you have faith that they won't do anything that is outside of the best interest of the unit. And
Yeah.
once you have that, then you can live at peace with each other, because peace is nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lacking. There's a certain feeling of wholeness, completeness with you and your spouse, because of the fact that you grow in love with each other and you have faith in each other. It leads to peace with each other.
Yeah. And all of that, the result that you're looking for, that peace, cannot be outside of the will of God. And it cannot be outside of Him being the center of the relationship. Because I know of many couples where there is faith in each other, but it's not rooted in their faith in God. It's like, I believe He's a good man for me, but I believe that outside of God's will. So that is a very dangerous zone to be in. My faith in God kind of secures my faith in my husband. I don't put my faith in him higher than God. But if you don't have God in the picture, then the higher being is the man. and that is putting your faith in man primarily. And with that, the result can never be peace, because ultimately he's not the giver of peace. The giver of peace comes from Christ himself,
Right.
the
Right.
being, God himself. He's the one that gives us that security. um the way I trust Darren, it's not because Darren has done so well as a husband. I trust him because I originally trust the God that joined us together, and he knows exactly what he's doing concerning this marriage. So when I look at my husband and I extend grace towards him, and I look at him and I see the love of God in him, is because I see the love of God in God. And who you serve, who you love, who you honor, who you submit to, has to be a reflection of the God that you serve. Has to.
Definitely. Definitely.
So
Definitely.
that's why scripture would say, honor your husband as he honors God.
Facts.
Honor, submit to him as he submit to Christ. Don't forget the as. So you gotta remember that part, and that is a part that we leave out. you know and then when you're already married, you can't expect somebody to tell you, well, because your husband doesn't honor God, then you should just walk away and leave him. I'm not going to tell you to do that. That is something that you and God have to work out, you and your husband have to work out, because I believe every relationship, depending on what's going on, is repairable. And repairable, I mean, you can get it right after you've started off wrong. You can put in the work, go back to the foundation of things to get things right, not perfect, right.
Facts. Facts. One
Now
more to
let us know,
go.
is this good or is this good? I see some comments now and again, but let us know if this is tonight was kind of heavy on wisdom and truth. But I think that's what we needed as well, because it's not always about just the hype and all that good stuff. You're gonna have to get some hard truth sometimes concerning where you're at. And 2020 did a lot of that. So we left the hard truths for the latter part, which is part two tonight. But yeah, you got to go back to listen to part one, bring part two together with it, and make it make sense for you, and let it help you in your marriage. 19. You both may have your own jobs, but find something to cause you to have to work together. That will bring you closer than you ever imagined. Facts, facts, facts. Put that in the comments. All facts. Um,
Uh,
you taking
you
this one
you
there?
you stuck. No, you were stuck while you were speaking. So I don't know if you were speaking or not.
You can take this one.
Oh, okay. All right. The camera froze. So I wasn't sure what if you were continuing or what. But anyway, this one, I feel like speaking a lot tonight. Don't know. I feel like I'm speaking a lot tonight.
Able to
Anyway,
get you on to 2 nights, you're gonna talk, man of God. You're gonna
yeah,
release this word in your belly.
this ain't happening again. I ain't speaking for the rest of the year. So this is something that we learned too because excuse me, excuse me. My wife is a nurse. I work at the airport. Our our fields, our professions are vastly different. So even though we speak to each other about things that happen in our day or certain highlights that would happen, there's still no there's not much connection there. I'm using that word very loosely. There's not much connection there because we have nothing in common in terms of our professions, our professional careers. There's nothing in common. So even though we communicate, yes, about and about highs and lows and things like that, that still does not bring as much closeness as having something that both of us have a vested interest in. And in a case like this, we have two ventures that we have a vested interest in. We have my own husband, which is my wife's brand. So we both work together. I am really and truly, I am her involuntary, voluntary employee. Let me say it like that. I everything that you see here, all she does is she just shows up and looks good. I do literally everything else.
I have paid you in many ways.
Yeah, not in the ways that actually matter, which is money. Listen, there was a meme going around on Christmas that said, listen, that what you talking about is not a gift. It's not a payment. That's not a payment. I ain't no. So I work for I am an unpaid employee of my own husband. Okay. But because this is something that we have together, we have a vested interest in it, in its stake, in its development. Nobody else really does because even though you have people who support the movement, who enjoy being around it, really and truly the only persons who have a legitimate claim and vested interest in this venture succeeding is Darren and Charmaine Wilson. So that's why we do whatever is necessary to have it grow and develop in whatever shape, fashion, form, or way. Another thing that we have in common is our business, quick to delivery. That is something that even though it's a company, so there are other people who we are working for us and doing our clients and our partners. But the only people who have a vested interest in this venture succeeding is Darren and Charmaine Wilson. So even though we have our own jobs and our own careers and our own professional obligations, our professional obligations don't bring us together. But our vested interest in these two entities bring us together. So that is why we have conversations about my own husband. Like where we want, where does Charmaine want to see it go, and what can I do to help bring it there? Where do you want to see quick you go, Darren, and how can Charmaine help bring it to that level? And that is where the conversations and the closeness come because now we are both equally invested in these two ventures. So we do what is necessary and don't I kid you not, we argue about these entities all the time because we have differences of opinion. But because we are interested, we have a vested in I keep using that phrase, a vested interest, an invested interest in it, it brings us together. It brings us closer. So that's what 2020 taught us. Find something that brings you together. So working together, and I don't understand, maybe Shami will touch on this. I'll probably just bring it up briefly here. I don't understand how couples say that they can't work together. It's beyond me. I don't judge me. Don't throw no stones or shoes or rocks at me. I just don't understand. I
Yeah,
really do. You know,
I don't get it either. But everybody's situation is different,
it's
so
different.
it
I
doesn't make
understand.
or break
I
your
understand.
marriage. It's just maybe you haven't found that thing yet. Let me put it that way. Because
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
telling
Let's say
Darren, if he has to come and work with me a day in the hospital, I probably would have to divorce him because
no, not divorce. You probably have to kick me out.
I have to what?
Kick me out the hospital. You ain't divorcing.
Yeah, but
You
I think
ain't
it's going to
divorcing.
annoy me too much that I probably give up because hygienically you're pretty okay, but not to my standard in terms of if you have to shadow me on the job or stuff like that. Yeah, you're not, babe. You're not that. You're not.
Wow, that's what we doing.
Not that. It's not your
Okay.
grace. Let me put it that way. It's not your grace. Your grace. It's not your grace. Your
Wow, that's what we doing tonight. Okay,
at least I still called you your grace.
got it. Got it. Yo, stop. Oh, we gotta watch Bridgerton tonight. Now I'm playing with you
Yeah,
now. But anyway,
we got as soon as we come off of this, we're gonna catch up on our Bridgerton series. So yes. Anyway, but so I would say maybe they haven't found that thing yet, that business, that project, whatever it is, that ministry, where both of them have to equally find their place. And it could be that sometimes you are attached to a ministry that your husband leads, but you haven't really found your spot. So instead of becoming a companion, a partner in it, a team player, you are very much like dead weight. So it's strenuous, and it's not that you don't love each other, but that partnership is not there. So it feels like we can't work together. But it's really because you probably have not found that one
That
thing,
thing that
that
yeah,
niche, that
that both of you can say that you can call your own and you can work together on.
yeah. So, for example, with my own husband movement, my thing is this. I like to talk and I like to engage. I'm very social. You know, Darren is not like that. He's much more a background type of person. But he's very good administratively. I don't have the time. I'm like, babe, I know what I want. I write up my emails, but I don't have the patience to make sure that I send them out on time and make sure that, I don't do that. So, but I know what I want to say. I say it. He reads over it. Everything filters through him. He sends it out. He takes his time. He does that, works out my graphics. I don't have the time for that. I just like to see. I like to have two options. I like that one. Please remove this, adjust that, and then I'm good. I share the vision and I'm like, please get it done for me. And he does an amazing job with that.
See what
So,
I say? I'm an unpaid employee. You hear all of that work?
and if he complains too much, I really make up for it because
Don't
I know that
worry.
I can be
What comes
demanding
to
when it comes to this movement. I really want to give my best, and I really want to how to say help you wives. So he's always the one to suffer for it, and I don't know. It's just it comes to the package of being my husband. So
if
I
any
pray for him.
wife are listening, you want to be a volunteer to help relieve some of my pressure, I gladly welcome you. Please join the team.
Yes. Anyway, 20.
20. And we one good time, man. We are almost an hour and a half.
We're gonna wrap up with this one.
Touch
Touch
each other.
me, touch, touch me.
Listen,
Hey.
I I don't understand how people can be in a house, a husband and a wife, and not touch each other for the day. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's beyond me. I mean, you would be surprised how simple, how like what we wrote here. Sometimes a short touch goes a long way. You'll be surprised and when I say long way, I don't mean it turn into sex, right? I mean that's the hope, but sometimes it doesn't. But the idea of you just touching your spouse, it lets them know that listen, I still see you. I still acknowledge you. Sometimes you be passing. I would be passing in the house, so she'd be in the bathroom, and I would just touch and slap on her butt. And guess what? My son sees it and he'd be like, Dad, don't do that. And then what he does, he comes right behind and does the same thing. What I want him to see that because it reinforces the idea that listen, mom and dad have a relationship that in which they're attracted to each other. And I want him to see that as well because it lets him know that listen, it's okay to be affectionate as a male, as a man to the woman that you married to, you love with. And it just reminds both you and your spouse that you see each other. And this is something
Hmm.
you learn in the pandemic because when you're locked down with each other for 2 weeks, you
Oh, we've
have.
been touching each other. We've been touching each other. That's for sure.
I mean, like I mentioned in the last video, I like to just lay down in my bed and reach over and touch my wife on her butt. It's difficult for me now in station because ain't nobody, there's no one here, so it's an empty space on the bed. But
Better not be. Because tonight, if there's somebody there, I definitely gonna be praying that prayer that I talked about earlier. Father, let him get no
listen,
rest, no peace, let nothing happen. There'll be no release. He will be stuck, built up, stressed.
I was expecting that comment, no, but it still catch me off guard. I was expecting that comment, but it still catch me off guard. Anyway,
Oh
there's
Lord, the
nobody else.
outcome will be futile in the
The
name of
point is,
Jesus.
The point is, I like to do that. And it's comforting for me, and I know it does something to her as well. Touch your spouse. Touch them. Touch them. If you have children listening, block their ears. Touch them on their butt. Touch them on their breast. Touch them. Touch them. You paid for them with your life, right? I keep telling them like that. I paid for it with my life. I'm married to you for life, so I literally paid for it with my life. So I can touch it, right?
That's right.
I can touch it.
And it goes both ways because a lot of times we expect the man to do the touching. Um, when deep down
Kelly, touch your
we really
man.
want to touch.
Touch up your man. No.
I'm gonna touch you. I'm gonna touch you. I'm gonna pull on stuff. I'm gonna.
I was trying to keep it, PG-13, at least, well, G, but nah, man, touch up your man. You're trying to speak proper just now, but you gotta say it like how we say it in some modern. Touch up your man, my son. Touch him up, no.
Anyways,
So
I
yeah,
love these points tonight.
those are
It
our
was
20
very
lessons.
sound for serious work, serious consideration, serious redirection and focus. But please catch up on part one as well because that one was really good. It was really fire. But this one also kind of like just cause everything that we said in part one to be really rooted and grounded firmly. That's what makes your marriage work. You gotta be rooted. You gotta be firm. You gotta be grounded. We're not building on sand here. We're building on a strong foundation, a very strong foundation. So I want to just honor you, my husband, again. This is not just words. This is really my heart. This is really who I am. Um, Even though when you get me upset, like how you did tonight before the live, I just had to shake my head, just shake my head, shake my head, shake my head. I said, before I dishonor you tonight, let me hang up this phone because you trying to try me in the name of the Lord, but it ain't working. It's not working. So
Uh, It's all right, but anyway, it was a pleasure to be on for these two videos, this discussion. It was one long discussion that was just broken up in two parts, and it was a fun discussion. And I hope that the wives who are listening, who be probably watching the replay, I hope you got something out of it. And it's going to be up on YouTube because these are lessons that you can take with you that can that you can learn from, and that's the idea. We want you to learn. If you The point is to develop. I think the mantra of the movement is better wives for better lives, moving from bitter to better. That's
better.
the idea. That's the point. It's not so much about um, where you are at, but what you are doing to move from where you are at to where you need to be. And I think that these 20 things that we learned in 2020 can be applicable to a lot of you. So here's what I need you to do: share it, share it, tag your friends, tag your kids, tag your wife, tag your husband, tag your engaged friends, tag everybody because this is something that everybody needs to hear. I'm not saying because it's us. I'm just saying because the information is rich, it's potent, it's meaty, it's wealthy. You can take notes from it, you can learn from it, and more importantly, because it's something that we are learning as well. We are growing, we are progressing as well. We're not looking to be a perfect couple, but we're looking to be a progressive couple. And
Yeah,
in being progressive, that's where you find your sweet spot. As it's not because sometimes, and I like using this phrase. Sometimes it's not about reaching the ideal. All right. Sometimes you may never reach the ideal, but it's about the journey towards the ideal. Okay. And once you can enjoy the journey towards the ideal, you're in a better place than you were 2 days before, a month ago, a
yes.
year ago. All right. As you continue to progress, you're always the idea is to progress. And that's what this movement, this platform is for. So here's what I want you to do, guys: share it, join her groups, Better Wives for Better Lives, and join the exclusive access membership group because coming up, and I can just take the reins because I don't know if you're gonna say it or not, but I can just say
Go
coming
ahead.
up. We have a workshop coming up called Goal Slayers. So
Woo!
Goal Slayers. Be a part of it. Go ahead and register. It's going to be fire. Fire, my friend. Fire. It's going to be fire. Okay? I'm telling you straight up, it's going to be fire. Goal Slayers. We're going to have Francesca. She's going to be on. She's going to be helping us. Well, not me because I won't be there, but she's going to be helping you all, the wives. She's going to be helping you guys do what is necessary to be able to develop your goals for this year. All right. Let's support the movement. Okay, let's
Woo!
support the movement.
Love,
Gold Slayers.
love.
Francesca, she's a motivational speaker. She's someone that Charmaine has known for years. She has her own business, too actually. So she's no stranger to setting goals and achieving them. She's a mother of three, and she's still doing that. Yeah, she knows a little bit about setting goals. So I would implore that all of you, every single last one of you, sign up, register. Okay?
So
Register.
all the links, thank you, husband. Awesome job. And the thing I didn't even pay you to say that. So you just flowed. Thank you for flowing by the spirit. Um, but the links are on our page. The links are in our private group. The links are on Instagram. It's everywhere. There's no excuse. So if you have a question, feel free to message me on Facebook, Instagram, my own husband, Charmaine Wilson, wherever you find me, just message me. It's fine. And definitely sign up, register. You don't want to miss it. If you're part of the exclusive access group, then it's absolutely free for you all three sessions. But if you're not a part of it and you want to sign up for the workshop, it's $15 total. I mean, that's a steal of a deal. But if you want to sign up for the exclusive access membership tonight, you can do so for $30, and that includes a whole lot of bonuses. I don't want to get into that. You can read it for yourself, check it out later. But we definitely have to go now, and I want to thank you, ladies, and your husbands if they were on for tuning in. Darren Wilson and Charmaine Wilson, Team Wilson. We just wanted to come on here and share with you and let you know what we have learned as a couple. And as my first fruit towards 2020, I wanted to team up with my husband to come on here to share because y'all know I'm very strong on honoring this man. Is he on this side? Yes, this side.
I'm on that side.
So so I needed you all to know that I am serious about that. And there ain't no workshop or nothing that we're gonna do on this platform without me honoring him first, the man in my life. So my baby daddy, my husband, my man of God.
Guys, thank you for indulging us. We enjoyed your company. I hope you enjoyed ours. And if anything, you know how to find Charmaine, not me. All right,
Yeah.
guys.
All
See
right, we're
you.
gonna talk about a Bridgerton
Yep.
series, right? All right.
Definitely.
I'll
All right.
see you on WhatsApp.
All right. Later. Bye,
Love you.
everyone.
Bye everyone. Share, share, share.